The University of Iowa may have found a way to break the cycle of drug addiction. With the support of the Iowa City VA, Dr. Subhash Gupta and Dr. John Wemme published their findings in the journal Science Advances. And I talked with Dr. Wemme about this research, which found promising results in mice.
Is it common for someone who is struggling with substance abuse to have a relapse?
It's quite common. In fact, it's one of the most insidious or difficult problems to treat. So it's accumulating research suggests that addictive drugs like cocaine and opioids hijack long-term memory systems in the brain to produce this drive, internal drive to obtain or use more drugs that it often referred to as craving, that can last years and can actually get stronger with time.
So how did this study work?
So in the process of studying a new way that neurons communicate to each other in the brains of mice, through changes in pH or levels of acidity in the brain, we disrupted a gene called carbonic anhydrase 4, or CA4. And in the process of doing those experiments, we discovered that deleting this gene for CA4 in mice, that it reduced and even prevented some of the changes that scientists think are caused by addictive drugs like cocaine.
What would be the next steps? How would someone beyond this study or take this information and make it something that's useful for someone who has addiction or a loved one who's struggling with that?
Right. So, well, the observations that we've made in mice raise the possibility that medications that produce similar effects to what we've observed with the gene, that they might help prevent craving and relapse in people, and thus and therefore help break this cycle of addiction that happens. And the most exciting part, in my view, is that medications that block this enzyme have already been developed and are safely used in people for other medical conditions. So it's possible potentially to use this discovery to help treat humans. Now, you asked about the important next steps, and so there are several. The first is to test whether these medications exert the effects that we might expect them to have in mice. The second is to see whether the effects in mice with cocaine carry over to other addictive drugs like opioids, for example, or methamphetamines. And finally, it'll be important to test whether these medications may have the potential to help people who are battling substance use disorders.